What's going on, people? Today we finally got a long-awaited update for part 3 of Attack on Titan, the final season, which it turns out is going to be the longest final season in history, because as you guys know, we've already had 2 parts which have been spread out over about 3 years, and now we're finding out that part 3 of Attack on Titan, the final season, that itself is going to be split into 2 parts. There's going to be part 3, part 1. The first part of part 3 is going to come out on Friday, the 3rd of March of 2023. So that's when part 3, part 1 will begin. And then sometime later in 2023, we're going to get the second half of part 3. Now, in terms of why they're doing this, like why they're splitting it out even further, we do actually have an explanation. So MAPPA themselves, who are the studio that make Attack on Titan, they put out a statement. And in that statement, they said, "We continued to produce with the goal of broadcasting the complete edition on March the 3rd. However, in the process of proceeding with that production, the amount of work increased significantly more than expected, and it was decided to be released in the first part and the second part under the consultation with each committee company." I'm not sure what that last part means, but basically they're just saying that it was a ton of work, and so they were just like, you know what, we had this goal of March 3rd, why don't we just release what we have then, and then finish the rest of it later and release it in the end of the year. That's basically what they're saying, because we need to remember, the end of Attack on Titan, the things that are being drawn are so complex, like that giant skeleton body moving and marching across the world. That is a lot of work, so I totally understand why they would, why they had to push back, you know, releasing the full season. I get that. It's just so funny that the final season is going to technically have like 4 or 5 parts. You know, we had part 1, part 2, the beginning of part 3, and then later in the year we'll get part 4. Basically, like there's one season split into 4 parts. But anyway, now that we've explained all that, it's time to move on to the trailer itself, because there were a few interesting things in this trailer that are probably worth talking about. So in the beginning of the trailer, it opens up with Eren waking up under the tree, like it basically the exact same way he did in the first episode. But what I'm interested in here is I think they're about to retcon something, because if you guys remember in episode 1, when Eren wakes up from under the tree, he has this nightmare and he sees a bunch of different visions, and those were anime original creations. You know, those visions were not in the manga. In the manga, he saw a vision of Mikasa saying "see you later" to him, and then that actually became an important plot point later in the manga. I'm not going to spoil what that plot point is, but you manga readers know that Mikasa being in his dream in the beginning of the manga does have some significance towards the end. Now, the fact is, the anime never showed us this, so I think what they're going to do potentially is, you know, they've clearly reanimated the opening scene of episode 1, so what they might potentially do is show us Mikasa saying "see you later" in his dream in the anime as well, so that when it becomes relevant later on, you know, at least they've put it out there in the world. So moving on from Eren waking up, we then get a bunch of awesome clips of people getting crushed by the rumbling. It looks really well animated. It looks fantastic. And one thing I wanted to highlight about this moment was that we see the statue of Helos. If you guys remember, in part 1 of the final season, Willy Tiber and Magath, they were chilling in the headquarters for the military, and that statue of Helos was right there in front of them, and I think Willy was talking about how like he came here just to see it and blah blah blah. And so in this moment, we see Mali is destroyed, Liberia is getting crushed, and yeah, the statue of Helos is no more. And I think the significance of this, I mean, number one, Helos was the guy who allegedly defeated the founding titan, and so the significance of Helos' statue now being destroyed and everything else being destroyed around it is basically meant to be ironic, because like this is the man who allegedly stopped the founder, and now the founder, Eren, is basically biting back, destroying everything outside the walls, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop him, really. The trailer then basically comes to an end with Eren's giant skeleton body just kind of moving forward. And yeah, we see it from behind. It looks really, really good. And then it transitions to Eren as a kid. This is one of the most iconic moments in the entire manga that's coming to life here. It's Eren basically, you know, achieving that goal of freedom. He gets to go out to the outside world. No one is stopping him. He can see whatever he wants to see. He can go wherever he wants to go. And he can kill whoever he wants to kill. And so yeah, that is the trailer for part 3, part 1 of the final season. Also, the day of the week this comes out is a Friday, which is a lot different from usual. Normally these episodes would come out on a Sunday UK time, and in Japanese time I'm pretty sure it was Monday when the episodes normally came out. But yeah, and now they're coming out on Fridays apparently, which is an interesting change. Not sure why they've made that, but I don't really mind, but just something worth pointing out. And yeah, that's basically everything I have to say about this trailer. But I would say that if you're a fan of this channel, like if you're not new to this channel, then on a completely separate note, I'm working on part 7 of my alternate timeline of what if Eren got the Colossal Titan. And yeah, it's coming along pretty well. I've planned out the video and like bullet points so far, and we have a ton of art commissioned for it. Which, you know, not all of it's been finished. It's still a long way to go, but that will be coming out sometime in February, between mid to late February. I'm really proud of how the series has gone so far. It's got over 2 million views in total, all the different parts put together, so really amazing stuff. And the ending will be pretty good. I am looking forward to seeing you guys' reactions to it. Just like all the other parts in this series, there will be major deaths, because one thing I wanted to do with this series is just like, you know, I wanted to capture the essence of like season 1 of Attack on Titan, when anyone, literally anyone could die, it felt like. We're going to continue that, so people will die, there will be some shocks, there will be twists and turns, and yeah, it's going to look amazing. It's going to look amazing. There's lots of different stuff that's been commissioned for this one, so yeah. As always, thank you guys for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and until the next one, peace out.